Good afternoon from the garden and welcome to today's video in which we attempt to make an elderflower liqueur. A bit of a backstory first. Our daughter is, because of the COVID-19 crisis, she came back from college, and because she misses partying with her friends in the college bar, she started making cocktails every Saturday. I myself am not much of a drinker, I hardly drink any alcohol at all, but I can appreciate the cocktails she makes, especially because they're often made with fresh fruit. Our liqueur cabinet was previously pretty much non-existent, so she asked us to stock up on some spirits so that she can make a wider variety of cocktails. And that's how we found out about a French spirit, French liqueur, which is called St.Germain. It comes in this beautiful bottle and it's made with elderflowers. But at this moment we also have a flowering elderflower bush in our garden, so of course I started thinking maybe we can make a liqueur like that ourselves. We have not actually tasted St.Germain yet, and to make it interesting we're going to do a blind tasting after we have made our own liqueur. Today I want to start a liqueur, and first I of course have to pick the flowers, so let's head over to our elderflower bush. Elderberry is an extremely versatile plant. First you get the flowers in spring, which you can use for tea. I like to dry them for tea. You can make elderflower cordial, you can fry them in batter, and what we're going to do today is pick some for making the liqueur. But of course in fall you also get the berries, unless you picked all the flowers, and those two are quite versatile. On the website of St.Germain it says that every bottle is made with up to 1,000 flowers, but since every cluster, every head of elder flowers consists of so many tiny blossoms, I think that should not be a problem. The heads that you want to pick, that you're looking for, should be fully open but not brown at all. So this is a good example. And I have looked up several recipes of making elderflower liqueur, and the ratio that most recipes recommend is about 20 heads per liter of spirits or vodka usually. I will be making half a liter, so I need about 10 heads. Many of the recipes that I found are also using lemon or lemon zest, but since, as far as I can see, St.Germain is made only with elderflowers, this is what we're going to do. I will take the flower heads home, I will pull off the tiny flowers, I will steep them in vodka for 2 weeks probably, keep them in a cool place, and then strain and add some sweetener. So see you in about 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks later. Today I strained the vodka, I added 50 grams of sugar dissolved in 50 milliliters of water. So this is our homemade elderflower liqueur. And now it's the moment of truth. It's time to see whether our homemade liqueur can rival the famous St.Germain. This will be decided by a totally unbiased panel of judges, which will consist of me and Esther.
Hi!
My daughter. For anybody concerned, Esther is 20 and the legal drinking age in the Netherlands is 18. So
it's all good.
It's all good. And my husband will pour the drinks so that we don't know which one was poured. What do you think will be the result, Esther?
Well, I already heard you say something about how this one might be a little more bitter because
no, I should not have said. But it will be blind test, so you don't know. It's like.
I mean, you're asking me what I'm expecting, and this is what I'm expecting. So I think this one will be a bit more sweet, and this one will be a bit more bitter.
We'll see. I don't know. I've never tasted St.Germain, so let's see. So this is contestant number 1.
Huh. Cheers.
Cheers. I can definitely taste the elderflowers, and it's quite nice, not very sweet. What do you think, Esther?
Well, are we supposed to just rate them, or are we supposed to guess what we think it is?
I think we should guess after the second one.
Okay, okay.
What are your thoughts so far?
Well, my thoughts are pretty similar. It tastes a lot like elderflower, so elderflower.
Yeah, you can smell it too.
Or something. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't really taste anything other than elderflower, but it doesn't really taste like alcohol that much either. It's quite smooth, I think.
Smooth. Okay. Well, time for drink number 2.
No, time to chug it. Yeah? 3, 2,
we 1. Shouldn't. We can't chug it.
So now that we've tasted the first one, it's time for contestant number 2.
This smells a lot less like immediately elderflowers.
It smells a lot sweeter.
Yeah.
And I think it also smells a lot more like other types of liquor, I'd say. Cheers first. Yeah, so rude.
Sorry. This tastes so different.
It tastes like lemonade. Like it tastes a little bit as if you just taken elderflower syrup and then like concentrated it and made it sweeter.
I taste a lot less of the elderflower.
Definitely. It tastes like elderflower syrup, I think. Store-bought elderflower syrup, because that doesn't taste like elderflower. I've never had that. Okay, then. Heard it here first, folks.
It smells nice, but it's like the other one was immediately, you taste, you smell and you taste elderflower like the first thing.
Do you think if you'd like found this at a bar and didn't know there was elderflower in it, that you'd notice?
I'm not even sure I would. What do you think?
No, I don't think so.
It's like if nobody told you it was.
Then you wouldn't know. Then it would just be like any other sweet type of.
It is nice, but it's like really, it does not scream elderflower.
Definitely, I like it though.
I like it too.
It's quite sweet, but quite nice.
Okay, so which one do you think was the homemade version?
I think the first one was the homemade version.
Yeah, I think so too.
Ultimately, that's gonna taste more like elderflower.
Probably we used like a lot more elderflower than they
more than 1,000 flowers in one.
And also what I read on the website, they macerate the flowers in water first, but only for 24 hours. And we macerated ours in the alcohol for 2 weeks. So I think that it's quite like to be expected that it would taste stronger. I think they're both good. But the question now is that the reason we made them and we bought St.Germain was because Esther wants to make some cocktails. So I think you should try to make the cocktails with both versions and we can compare the two.
I think so too. I think both of these have a lot going for them, but in different ways. So it'll be interesting to see how the flavors mix with the rest of the cocktail.
And also, like elderflowers mix really well with, complement all kinds of fruits that ripen in the same season. The famous combination is with gooseberries, but I also like them with strawberries. And I have a strawberry elderflower jam recipe on my website, which I will link below. But the cocktail we're going to make is also
with fresh strawberries.
Okay, so let's get to it. So Esther is all set up. What are you gonna use for the cocktail?
So today we're using some fresh chopped strawberries. These are from our neighbor's garden, and as Mom said, we're really lucky to have strawberries in season right now. So we have them with breakfast every day, but they're also really great in cocktails. I love making fruity cocktails, and especially when we can find the ingredients in the garden. That's really nice. Another ingredient from the garden. All right.
Add that we also have strawberries in the garden, but ours, the first flush of the flowers was damaged by frost, so we're only now getting first ripe strawberries. So we're really lucky that we can get them from our neighbors at this point.
And the strawberries we're using to garnish the cocktail are actually from our own garden. But another ingredient from our garden, which we're gonna need, is some sprigs of thyme. So if you could get those for me.
Yes. Is that enough?
I think so. Thank you. And then other than that, we're just using some lemon juice, some sparkling water to top it all off. And then, of course, the liquors. We're using some vodka and the St.Germain, both the homemade version and the store-bought version, in the 2 different cocktails to try how those compare. So to start it off, we're gonna grab the strawberries. This is about 1/3 cup of chopped strawberries. You're just gonna add them right here to your cocktail shaker, or if you don't have one, you can just use a mason jar with a lid. Then we are going to add a sprig of thyme, and we are going to add about 1 ounce of lemon juice, freshly squeezed. Then we're going to muddle all of these together to really release the flavor and make the strawberries nice and juicy. All right, I think that is about done. So now we're going to add the liquor. For this version of the cocktail, I'm going to use our homemade St.Germain with elderflower from our garden. You're going to add about 1 ounce, so that's around 30 milliliters. You're going to add it in there. And then for good measure, we're also going to add 2 ounces of vodka, that's around 60 milliliters. So as you saw before in the video, St.Germain, or at least the version that we made, is pretty much vodka with elderflower. So this is quite a strong cocktail, and I advise you to drink responsibly, of course. Now we're going to add some ice cubes to that, just to cool it all off. And then we're going to close the jar, close the cocktail shaker. Yes. And then shake it vigorously to mix it all up. Right. I think that's about done. So now we're going to strain it. Conveniently, this cocktail shaker has a strainer at the top, otherwise you can just use a sieve to strain it. And then we're going to strain it into a glass filled with ice, just like that. So now that we've strained it into the glass, we're just going to top it off with some sparkling water or club soda. And you can just use however much you would like, or however much fits into your glass. These glasses are quite small, so it's only about 1 ounce of sparkling water, I'd say. And that's almost finished, but just to make it a little bit prettier, we're going to add a few sprigs of thyme, and then also some freshly sliced strawberries from our own garden to garnish it. And that is it. So right here is the version I just made with the homemade St.Germain liqueur. And here's another version I made, which is with the store-bought St.Germain version. So now we're going to try and see how we like the liquors in the cocktails. Cheers. I have to say, I can taste the elderflower a bit more now that it's actually in the cocktail. I think so. I think so, somehow. It doesn't make sense.
We should have put some elderflowers on top to garnish.
We really should have. That would have made for a pretty color combination. All right. This is so much less sweet. This is almost like a bitter lemon.
I don't think it's like sweetness as such, but it's more this store-bought St.Germain is like perfumed. But not necessarily like elderflower perfume, but just perfumed.
Just in general.
I don't know. It's I like both. But you prefer the store-bought?
I do prefer that one.
That's really disappointing.
I know. I'm sorry. It's it speaks badly of my palate, not of the liquor itself.
Well, I would hope that that it's not just the pretty bottles. They put some effort.
I'm not that superficial.
No, I mean like that they know what they're doing. But like for anybody who wants to make their own elderflower liqueur, there is an important difference is the price, because this one will set you back, what was it?
Around like 20 euros, I would say. I think so.
22 to 25, I think. And it's a half a liter. And this will just cost you the vodka and a little bit of sugar. So up to you. If you have made, if you have tried making elderflower liqueur before, then please let me know if you have a different recipe. And let me know what other things you make with elderflower. Happy gardening!
Happy gardening! And cheers!